There's real power in data insights, and one of those is about customer moves. So I'm going to ask you a question. Where does the buyer come from when they buy? And where does the seller move when they sell? Because both of those markets are on top of the current market that you're working in today. Let's say, for example, that you're selling a property in and around your average sale price, and it's a nice, modest house. And ultimately, the people that buy that are people that are moving from an apartment in a neighboring marketplace. All of a sudden, when they move there to come and buy the house, they've all of a sudden got to sell that particular apartment. Now, the interesting conversation, you might not be interested in the apartment market because maybe it's a lower end, or maybe you think that you only ever deal with investors. But you should be really interested in working with that, because it's not just the first home buyers and investors. It's also about understanding that those first home buyers are connected to maybe some people that already own property, or those investors are actually in a position that they own the high-end home that you'd really like to go and sell. Then in addition to that, when your seller sells with you and they then move, if they then move up and go buy a more expensive property, that now means that that's the next market that you want to go and crack. And later on, when literally those people go to sell those more expensive homes, are you going to be the agent that's on the shopping list, or will they simply just sell with the agent that they bought through? Now, this is such an important conversation because it's actually understanding the demographic shifts of how people move up and down in your particular marketplace. So let's have a quick conversation around what happens in something like Alexander Phillips' business. First of all, he starts working with someone inside of the apartment market in Bondi. Maybe they buy that smaller apartment, and as things progress, all of a sudden they sell out of that and they buy into that smaller home in the area. Once that happens, they then sell out of that, they then go and buy a larger family home in around Tamarama. And as they get more successful, they end up moving to Bronte. And even then again, if they get even more successful, they buy that beautiful cliff-top home in around that Bronte region. Once they sell out of that, they then want to move back into somewhere like Paddington as an example, because they want to be able to walk to all the cafes and restaurants as they come close to retirement. And this is literally kind of what we've got to call the wheel of life of where people start out when they're a single, how they move into being a couple, what actually happens is they have young kids, as the kids grow up into secondary school, and then ultimately where they downsize to once they've gone through that life cycle. If you can understand how those markets work, it allows you to work properties anywhere between a couple $100,000 all the way up to $20 million plus. And the secret is that you can actually grow up with your clients. So really go and do some analysis. When the buyers buy, where do they come from? And where do the sellers sell? Where do they move to? Because both of those are additional markets you might not yet have thought of that actually could be markets that you could be opening up to significantly boom your market share with the existing relationships that you already have.